Hey, what's up, people? Piz out here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the newly released Blu-ray from the fine folks over at Vinegar Syndrome. This one is for the holiday classic, Christmas Evil. And I actually did a full review of the film last year during my holiday horror series of reviews, so I'll put a link to that in the description below for a more detailed review of this film. Go check that out. I'm going to mostly focus on the Blu-ray for this review, but I will talk a little bit about the film. Christmas Evil is one of those. It's sort of an artsy horror, psychological thriller, character study of a man's descent into complete madness. We've got an amazing performance in the film from Brandon Maggart, who I found out courtesy of this Blu-ray, of his interview on this Blu-ray, is actually the father of Fiona Apple. Had no idea. Great performance from him. I've always enjoyed this movie because it's just so sort of weird. There's a quote on the back from John Waters that says, "The greatest Christmas movie ever made." And I can totally understand why someone like John Waters, knowing his sort of taste and his style as a filmmaker, I can understand why he would love this film, because it's just so off kilter. It's so kind of strange, yet it's a really well made, low budget, at its core, exploitation movie. But all praise in the world to Lewis Jackson, the writer and director of the film. We have a strong story, strong characters. I love the turmoil, the conflict between Brandon Maggart's character and his brother, played by Jeffrey DeMunn in the film. Their relationship is very strained, and it's very, very well written, and it's very, very well acted. That's a great little sort of subplot in the movie. But Brandon Maggart's character, Harry, he works at Jolly Time Toy Company. He loves the holidays, but he takes it a little too far. He spies on all the neighborhood kids with binoculars, or he peeps through their windows at night, and he keeps these huge detailed ledgers of all the good little boys and girls and the bad little boys and girls. And, if they're bad little boys and girls, he writes in, they swear. They are insubordinate to their parents. They have, negative body hygiene, stuff like that. So he keeps a running ledger on all the kids in the neighborhood, and he's slowly losing his mind because his very idolized sense of what Christmas is and what Christmas is about, or what Christmas should be about, is really something shared by no one other than him. He's seeing that everyone else, Christmas is just a time of receiving, of getting gifts. It's the one time a year people seem to be kind to one another, and even then it's just a very shallow sort of jubilee is the only word that comes to mind, and that slowly drives him mad, and he dresses up as Santa and he goes out, and as I talked about in my review for this film last year, for my holiday horror series, there's a really great sequence where he goes to this children's hospital and he's giving out presents. And the kids are loving him, and the staff are loving it. It's like in the middle of the night, and he's doing this. And the kids love it. The staff love it. They're just like, "Oh, thank you so much." This woman comes up and embraces him and kisses him and is like, "Thank you so much." And then that scene segues to a scene outside of a church where he murders 3 people with a hatchet. Actually, he stabs one guy in the eye with like a toy soldier who's holding a steel, a sharp steel rod sticking out of it that he actually made himself, with the purpose to jab into somebody's eye, ostensibly. But those two sequences happening right back to back, you have this sort of touching sequence that's followed by this very abruptly violent and sort of disturbing sequence. And I love the ending of this film. It's so open-ended. It's just so almost fairy tale-like. I just love the way this movie ends. I really like this film a lot. And the Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome, if you're a fan of Christmas Evil or you're curious about Christmas Evil, you've heard about it, but you've just not seen it, this is the time to pick it up. Vinegar Syndrome brings us a 4K restoration of the film from its original 35mm elements. The movie looks fantastic. I first saw the movie on like a Trauma DVD years and years ago, and it looked pretty bad. But this 4K restoration, it looks great, it sounds great. Vinegar Syndrome, I think, is really, you know, they're making a name for themselves with these kind of releases, really bringing us some great releases, and really putting the time and effort into making them really solid releases, and Christmas Evil is no exception. We've got three commentary tracks on the film. I'm sorry, I did not watch any of them, or I did not watch the film with any of the commentary tracks, but they do sound pretty interesting. We have a standalone commentary track with Lewis Jackson. We have a commentary track with Lewis Jackson and the star Brandon Maggart, and we have a commentary with Lewis Jackson and John Waters, which I thought about watching it with that one, but just really couldn't find the time. We've got a lot of special features on the film. We've got a 7-minute interview with Lewis Jackson. These special features may have been a port over from the old Troma release because they're performed in Tromaville with like Troma characters in some of the interviews. So anyway, we've got an interview with Lewis Jackson. It's 7 minutes long. He talks about, you know, getting the film made. It took 10 years for the film to be made from when he first started writing it. There were problems with the distribution of the film, which is why the film's known by like 3 or 4 different names. Christmas Evil, You Better Watch Out, Terror in Toy Town or Toyland or something like that is one of the names. So that's why there were so many different releases of the film with different names, and some of them with very shoddy quality. He also reveals that Kathleen Turner and Glenn Close actually auditioned for roles in the film, and they were turned down for roles in this film. We have an interview with Brandon Maggart. It's about 6.5 minutes long. He's a pretty interesting character. He's the father of Fiona Apple, and Fiona Apple is a pretty interesting character herself, so you can kind of see where she gets it from. But yeah, he's an interesting interview with him. He reveals that he was on the original cast of Sesame Street before he was cast in Christmas Evil. Pretty cool. He just discusses his favorite scenes in the film, meeting fans of the film and the film's cult status, which is really cool. We have something that's really interesting on this disc, which is audition footage. We have 25 minutes of audition footage of actors auditioning for roles in the film. Some of them that you will recognize, like Jo Beth Williams from Poltergeist auditioned for this film. Michael Peck from The Warriors auditioned from this film. Several other people that I recognizable faces had auditioned for Christmas Evil and didn't make it into the film. But there are a lot of recognizable faces in Christmas Evil. People like Raymond J. Barry, the woman that played Tim Allen's wife on Home Improvement is in the film. Of course, Jeffrey DeMunn from The Walking Dead is in the film. Several other recognizable people in the film as well. We get a bunch of deleted scenes, and we get an awesome special feature on this film, which are comment cards, which were, you know, if you've ever been to a movie and when you're walking out, there's like a little exit poll kind of survey. Somebody will say, "Here, would you mind filling this out for me?" And you just tell them, you know, your age, what, you know, your sex, your gender, and you know what you thought of the film. You rate the film, and you leave just a brief little comment. And there were some really, really interesting comments on these comment cards. One of them was one of my favorite ones was too long, it needs editing, or possibly destroyed. The film needs editing or to be possibly destroyed. But a lot of negative, of course, comments about the film. People talking about it, you know, not being a great Christmas film, or undermining what Christmas is really about, and so on and so forth. So really, really colorful comments on those comment cards. And if you do get this disc, go to the very end of the comments cards to that feature, and there's a nice little surprise there. So hang on to the end of the comment cards extra. And what's funny about this movie is, you know, there were a lot of people, and Lewis Jackson talks about it in his interview, that said, you know, the film undermines what Christmas is all about, what Christmas is really about. And, you know, yeah, there's some horror elements in the film, there's some shocking moments in the film, there's murders in the film, stuff like that. But honestly, the character of Harry, he's driven mad because he realizes that no one, all these people around him are totally detached from what the true meaning of Christmas is. And he is kind of, honestly, the most, again, keep in mind, he's murdering people. He goes off the deep end and murders people. But really, up to that point, in his own sort of aberrant way, he is, you know, it's kind. He knows the traditional Christmas. You know, it's better to give than to receive. It's all about, you know, the time of year and family and friends and that sort of thing. And I think a lot of people were really, you know, they just quite didn't get that part because there are some shocking elements in the film because, you know, it is an exploitation film, but it's really well done, really well acted, I think really well written, great characters in the film, some great acting in the film as well, and that ending, just whew, love that ending. Love that ending. A lot of very ballsy ending, I think, a very ballsy ending. Really enjoy this movie. If you're a fan of Christmas Evil, head over to the Vinegar Syndrome's website. I'll put a link in the description below. If you're curious about this movie and you want to check it out, now's the time. Great Blu-ray, great quality Blu-ray, sound and picture, and some really cool special features for you guys to sink your teeth into too. It's a DVD Blu-ray multi-pack, so you got the best of both worlds on here. Go check it out. Christmas Evil, just in time for the holidays. If you guys have seen Christmas Evil, please let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. If you've not, go check it out. Come back. Tell me what you thought of it in the comment section below. And until next time, you guys take it easy. Peace.